By the way, I spent over 80K in metal pipes last year.
Hello, y'all. Welcome. It's good to see you this... For me, it's morning. For me, it's 9 a.m. Special welcome to 404. Welcome back. Hey, Mash and James. Hey, Sumi. Nice seeing you again. .404 is from Pizzaland, where Peter the Pizza is. Oh, sorry. I read that as machine rather than M. Sachin? I think Sachin, but feel free to correct me. I have coffee. The second one is probably correct. It probably is. Again, time zones are so weird, especially for all of y'all. Second one is spot on. Great. Okay. For all of y'all in the other side of the world from me. Because, yeah, for me, this is my, early morning stream, 9 a.m. And for y'all, it's oh my goodness. Thankfully, again, 404, like you're saying, finally not at 3 a.m. for y'all. For those of you who don't know, hi, I'm Dimmer. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a coach with Major League Hacking. Super excited to be here with y'all today. We're going to be troubleshooting some code that we were writing the past 2 days. We were supposed to be done with it. We've theoretically implemented everything, but it is broken, as is writing code. And then we're going to get to implementing that 3D model that I was talking about in the announcement. I'm excited for today's stream. Well, for this morning's stream. I have 3 different technical streams today and then a mini event stream. I'm streaming for a total of 7 hours today. So... hopefully y'all enjoy. Time zones are really weird. It's morning there. It's pizza o'clock here. So time zones are especially weird because in the United States, it's daylight savings. For those of you who don't know, I know that this is a thing in some other countries around the world, but I don't know exactly how many. It went from 1 a.m. last night to 3 a.m., completely skipping an hour. And I didn't realize this until I was setting my alarm. I set an alarm to wake up at 8 a.m. I streamed at 9. Everything's good. And for those of you who have Android, thank you, 404. That's just what I needed to wake up and grab myself for a day of long streaming. Oh, but I set my alarm for 8 a.m. and I got told, hey, you're going to get 7.5 hours. Like, that's set for 7.5 hours from now. And I was like, what? It's 11:30. It's 8.5. And I truly thought that Google, in their clock app on Android, had an error. Until I went, oh, wait, occasionally this happens. Is that today? Oh, no, it's today. So I did not have the foresight to be able to plan ahead to get more sleep. So 404, yes, 7 hours. We'll see. Maybe it's a mistake. I think there's probably a good statistical likelihood that it is, but the way that the schedule worked out, today was pretty open, and I didn't stream that much last month because I was moving, so I wanted to both make sure that I was streaming more, and also I'm really excited for Games Week. So between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time, it is just me, live for 4 hours straight. So it's this, and then I have a break between now and 3 p.m., and then 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time is me streaming. And then between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. I have a break. And then 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. A new coach is going to be doing a mini event. And I'm just going to be joining them. We're going to be hanging out, having some fun. So yeah, we have a really good day. Just host a stream on finding the best ways to sleep or who sleeps hardest mini event. Okay. The problem is that I like submit my stream ideas beforehand. And that works really well, except for this month. And I'm both like saying this to y'all, and also if anyone from MLH is watching, I am so sorry. I thought that I understood what I was going to be doing for these projects, what it would entail, all of these things. I was wrong. And like the things that I thought would be difficult turned out to be easier, and the things that I thought were easier turned out to be more difficult. So you'll notice on the schedule, the stream has an entirely different title than the title on this stream. And that is because I have now realized what I actually need to be dedicating time to. So everything's kind of mixed up and messed around, but again, excited to be here with y'all. With that, I am going to drink some more coffee, and then we're gonna jump into, I'm gonna pull up our game that we've made thus far, and I'm gonna talk about what we have and the errors that we have, and we'll go from there. So, first, I'm going to put this might surprise some of you, because generally I've been bad at this, and I've infamously used Pastebin. I have a GitHub repo for these streams, because I realized that I was going to be working on the same project for like 6 different streams, 12 total hours live. And I wanted to make sure that people could follow along. So right there, that is a GitHub repo for all the code that we've made. So you can go ahead and download that. If you have any questions, let me know. I walked through downloading that last time. And then once you have it downloaded, I'll walk you through opening it in Godot. We're also using the Godot game engine. I've talked about this a lot before. It's an amazing open source game engine, 2D and 3D games. It's getting a lot of features and a lot of, something got messed up here, and everything's just slightly off. This like black gap between there and the text overlapping with the screen, and I don't know what happened, but everything is just like misaligned by a few pixels. I might fix that later because I have kept noticing it. We're going to be using Godot. I'm going to drop this link in chat as well. If you don't have it installed, you can just go ahead and click download latest and then install this top one, whatever it is for your operating system. Godot has support for 3 different languages. You can either use C++, C#, and or GDScript. If you want to use either C++ or GDScript, we're going to be using GDScript because it's my favorite. You can go ahead and install the top one. If you want to use C#, you install the bottom one with .NET support. I love Godot, especially the collab with Godot and Mr. Astley. So 404, I'm sorry that I need to break this news to you. We are no longer allowed to have Rickroll on stream. We officially got the first copyright notice because of it. And I got the message from on high that Mr. Astley needed to go back to his homeland. So you'll notice that you can't redeem that right now. We will have some other big channel point reward that you can redeem in its place, but I'm still brainstorming and figuring out what that is because of all the copyright stuff. It was good while it lasted, but alas. Hold as I search for the correct emoji, please. I will. I am going to really quickly try fixing the text alignment, because that is going to bug me if that is there for 6 hours today. The good news, 404, is that Metal Pipe is still there. That's a very good combination of emojis. Again, we will find some replacement. We need to give it a sec and figure out what that is. It is not going away for good. Can I make my own cover of Rickroll? They can't copyright that. That is what I've been thinking of. Don't do it yet, but I love your enthusiasm. What? Hey, Shrey. I'm doing well. A little tired, but I have my coffee. It's the morning for me. Okay. Yeah, you'll notice that the like fire from 404 is like overlapping the screen share. Is this... We're going to do that. It's just updating. It's refreshing. Nice, I'm having tea. I'm glad, Trey. That sounds very nice. OBS issues. It's not necessarily an OBS issue. This is Stream Elements, which is what I use for all the overlays. I don't know what changed about this. Oh, I do know what changed. I've been going about this the wrong direction. So the reason that this happened is due to when we were live streaming the Raspberry Pi. When were you streaming a Raspberry Pi? Oh, it was months ago. Because, yeah, usually I cut off my taskbar, because that's not, like, useful information for y'all. But that is currently leaving a black bar. So if I do that, that seems to be a couple pixels too much. A couple pixels too little. I think it was beginner's week. I think you're right. One sec, I need to look at this closer. Okay, I think that is... We're going to try running with that. Great, okay. That should be what it should look like. More pixel perfect now. Sorry about that. Okay. So, Godot, installed if you haven't. That GitHub repo, download the code if you haven't. Beginner's week was very fun. It was my intro to MLH. I forgot about that, Shrey.
Good job.
Thank you. I do think we should probably be saving that for if and when I miraculously fix these weird bugs that we're having. So the thing is that the tutorial that we were following was for a previous version of Godot. Ignore that that says Godot 2. That is weird versioning on my computer. We are using Godot 4.2. Weirdness. So we have a player that is a capsule. They have a collision shape, and they have, this is the important thing, a spring arm 3D, which is really cool. Brain thinking. Okay, I just had an idea of what might be broken. A spring arm 3D, which basically, theoretically, allows us to have a third-person camera that will not clip into the world, but allows us to rotate around the character. And then we have a world that just has a floor and the player. Now, when we hit play, we notice a couple things. One, I can clip my camera through the floor. That's a bug. Two, the camera flickers on occasion. And that's bad. Three, WASD should be moving the character. And it does not. Four, slightly less important, oh, that's kind of cool that I can line up the world between the two frames. You can't exit this window without closing it. So Command Q here on Windows, people were doing Control Tab to switch out and then closing it because it traps your cursor and does not let go. Bean, yes. So we are, again, the goal with this stream, and it might roll over into the next stream. That is one benefit of doing 6 hours of live streams in one day. We have a very adorable penguin model that we're going to try using for this. Or also Alt F4 closes the program running. Yes. I don't like just like quitting out of it because that feels risky in some way, that like if it's not the active program, you could close something else. So if you can do a Control Tab, but Alt F4, yes, as well. We have an adorable penguin model that I want to use that mesh for. And also we are going to be, like I said in the Discord announcement, using, for those of you who played Wii Sports Resort, Woohoo Island, which is an iconic world and an iconic island, as our world map. So those are like the two like kind of cute, cool models that we're going to be implementing. So this is our test to make sure that our movement code works, which, irony upon irony, is not. So the first thing that I'm thinking is, collisions wise, it does not seem like our spring arm is colliding with the world. And it might be because it doesn't have a shape. So I have just added a shape. This is, I want to be clear, I don't expect y'all to be following along right now. This is me troubleshooting, and once I have troubleshooted it, then I will give like a tutorial for y'all to be able to follow along. Okay, so having a shape has fixed the flashing, but it has not fixed the collision, and it has not fixed the movement. But our camera's no longer flashing. It still isn't colliding with the floor. One thing at a time. I'm going to try resetting the margin to what it was by default. Okay, so you'll notice there that it's doing part of its job. You can see as we get closer to the floor, the camera starts moving closer to our player, and also it clipped into the floor. So the clipping into the floor is bad, but you can see that like as it collides with a mesh in the environment, it's moving closer to our player. So to better test this, I'm going to add some more to our environment. For those of you who are here for my pathfinding streams, which I think Shrey, you might have been, you'll recognize this process of me just adding a couple cubes to the map. Oh God, I just quit. Oh, let's hope that's saved. I meant to do add and I clicked quit instead. Did that save? Hey, it did. Okay. Okay, here we go. We are going to add a mesh instance 3D, and that mesh instance is going to be a cube mesh. Box mesh. We are going to make it larger. say 20 and 20 tall. So now we have a wall that we should be able to basically knock our camera into. I'm going to transform it 10 up. And I'm just going to move it over. I'll move it over on that side so we aren't in the shadow. And theoretically, now I generate a tri-mesh static body for it, so it has collisions. When I run this, okay, it is not close enough for our camera to actually intersect it. I'm going to move it closer. Hey! Okay, so it's working on the wall. You can see that's beautiful. It's just not working on the floor. We can still clip through the floor, and I think I understand possibly why.
Good job.
So, okay, our code is not completely broken. Yay. This is great. This is just like very good. It is only good because this is what we needed to have a third person camera. Zoomed bean indeed. The only problem is you can still clip through the floor. So now I can just Google that. I also realized I'm being really loud, and it's 9:30 a.m. That's not too unreasonable. Again, I've been here for like a month, but I don't want my neighbors to hate me. The walls are, I generally do not hear my neighbors. So I think the walls are good enough, but spring arm 3D clipping through floor. Godot. Use a clipped camera. Okay, so I just skimmed that, and what I'm going to try doing is I'm going to try using a different shape. And we'll try this, because this is what is going to be the hitbox for the camera. Okay, still clip through the wall. Or through the floor, but not through the wall. So I'm going to go back to what we had before. Tangent alert, but a wall's in the US made of like wood. It's concrete here. I'd be... Huh. So in the US, walls are made from nothing. The standard construction of a wall in the US is with some, they're called studs. It's some beams of wood, and then like it's drywall or sheetrock, which is basically plaster in between paper. And it's so flimsy. So this is what our walls look like. You have that like wooden frame, and then you'll notice this like some like thing, this like facade covering it, and that facade is drywall. Drywall is made of calcium sulfate dihydride, typically extruded between thick sheets of facet and backer paper, and is used for the construction of interior walls and ceilings. This, yeah.
I understand how the fox blew the houses of the three piggies.
Yes, it is a problem. Yeah, it's gypsum plaster sandwiched between two layers of paper. It's truly insane. Oh, basically POP. I get it. I don't know what that is referring to. But yeah, so that's why generally walls are plaster of Paris. Yes. Yeah. So it is not just paper, but it is practically like it's very thin, it's not very strong. So generally sound travels through it easily, all that jazz. You do have space for insulation in the middle, which is a good thing. That's what this yellow stuff is. So someone can punch through. Oh, yes. If I were to bump into the wall too hard, I could make a hole in it. Like, if I were to push my camera over backwards, it falling could make a hole in the wall. I'm not going to do that because I rent. And I don't want my landlord to hate me. But yeah. This is blowing my mind right now. Yeah, so there's so many products in the US for hanging things on walls. Yeah, it's the idea of like punching an eggshell, slightly stronger, but you get the idea. Yes. Does plaster of Paris made in Paris? I don't believe it is. Hermaeus, that is a very good analogy. Drywall anchor. This is like a very common product in the US, is any of these different things that allow you to connect stuff to drywall without pulling down the wall. Like you need, I know that there are concrete anchors as well, but that's the thickness of drywall. And this is basically designed to like, so you can screw something to the wall. We have things called stud finders that you like drag along the wall, and this will beep at you when it reaches the wood. So you can find where the wood is placed. Remember the wooden panels that I had behind me? I used a stud finder to find the parts of the wall that were actually solid so that I could screw into the wood rather than the drywall, because those were kind of heavy. Again, very big tangent, but it is an interesting and horrible byproduct of post-war housing production in the United States and suburbia and all that jazz, that our homes are made of nothing that is very strong or sustainable. That being said, I want to check something. In our code for the spring arm, we prevent it from going more than 30 degrees below. But if I were to change it to 0 degrees, so we can't go lower than flat, I want to see, okay, no, we still clip into the floor. You can see that it like shows us, okay. Shrey is entirely right. These are inner walls rather than the outer walls. The outer walls are slightly stronger. But there is, for those of you who don't know, penetration testing is the idea and security of trying to have someone hack into something to like test its security. There's an iconic person who was basically hired to like be a fake thief, because I think they were originally a real thief. And they did an interview where they were talking about like, if someone really wants to get into, like they were giving the example of a hotel room. Like you can have the best lock you want in that hotel door. You can buy a cheap drywall saw and just saw through the wall, and it's easier than breaking down the door. That like you can make your own holes in the walls because they're that thin. It was like an iconic interview a couple of years back. Okay, so I'm going to change this back to 30. And we'll need to fix it another way. This is hilarious. It truly is. The only places that I have seen with concrete or cinder block walls are like schools and other like institutional buildings like that. Let us just take a look at the Godot docs. Are very good. You could tell that we were looking at this to see what changed in the latest Let us find spring arm. Oh wait, this is alphabetized. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Okay. Spring arm 3D. Okay. A 3D raycast that dynamically moves its children near the collision point. Great. It casts a ray or shape along its z-axis and moves all its direct children to the collision point with an optional margin. This is useful for third-person cameras that move closer to the player when inside a tight space. You may need to exclude the player's collision from the spring arm 3D's collision check. I think that one's like parenthetical right there is the problem that we're fixing. For maybe the floor is made of drywall so the camera can clip through. Also, y'all don't really need to focus. Like, if you want to, go for it. But generally, I just want to say that stream chat can be whatever it is. We're here to learn about code and things like that. But also, like, basically, I'm trying to show y'all what it is like to be at a hackathon with me, doing a hackathon project. And that involves talking about weird, random things. Okay. I think we're going to try using this method add excluded object and remove the player's hitbox. And we'll try this. So in our script for the spring arm, add excluded object. I want to create a variable that is player hitbox. It's a private variable, hence the underscore. And it is going to be of type collision object 3D. And we're going to set that equal to collision shape 3D. Great. And then we're going to add excluded object, player hitbox. We're going to save this. We're going to try running it again. That okay, we can get closer to the player, which is good. So interesting thing, we orbit around the bottom of the player. I want to see what happens if we orbit around the top of the player. So if we take our spring arm 3D and we transform it up to so that we're at the head, what does this look like now? That didn't actually change anything. And I think I understand why. In our script, we specifically say that we want to set it as top level, thus ignoring transformation. We'll figure this out. Sachin, oh, it's my first. Didn't know that. Sorry, you're totally fine. I kind of assumed it was your first, But yeah, some streams on here probably have a more serious tone. Mine, there's a reason that 404 used a tangent alert. We kind of had a meme that I really need to create a sound for. We've talked about this before, for when we go on tangents. That tangent alert. So I'm going to remove this code here because that didn't actually fix anything. Collision mask 1. Spring length. Oh, rather than a penguin, which is your favorite character? So I used a penguin because it stands on 2 legs. But ferrets are incredible. It's in the same family as stoats, which are even more adorable. And then we have weasels, which are also adorable. So yeah, I think weasels or stoats are some of my favorite animals. Because they're so cute. Oh my goodness. If you want to find some adorable things, there are people who have weasels or stoats as pets. And they will like play hunt. And they also, it's called, they like a dog barks and a cat purrs. Weasels Duke. Duke is the recognizable vocalization of smaller members of the I don't know how to pronounce that family, ferrets, weasels, polecats, etc. It traditionally sounds like a high-pitched staccato noise. Duke, Duke. It makes me happy. My favorite one is Peter the Pizza. Understandable. Anyway, yeah. We need an MP3 of duking. I will look into that during the break. Okay, let's try this. So, for those of you who don't know, there is collision masks in Godot, which is basically we have different layers or groups. I'm just going to check that link really quickly. Hey, yes, okay, great. Just wanted to double check that it was what you said it was. There's so many videos of ferrets being extremely playful.
No more Rickrolls for DM or LeMayo.
I mean, so part of it is the Rickrolls, and also part of it is, y'all might remember one stream I allowed chat to send in videos, and someone sent in a video accidentally that was a little bit too edgy of a meme for MLH to be able to play. So I always try to make sure I moderate things better now. Okay, collision masks are the level on which our objects are colliding with each other. So in this case, we've put it on layer 2, and if we hit run now, it won't collide with anything because everything else is on layer 1. So you'll notice it just goes through the wall, it just goes through the floor. But if we now take our world, and we also make our world collide on layer 2, it still does nothing. Oh, because because I set that in the... Goodness. Oof, indeed. I set it in the visual layer. You'll notice that this says visual instance 3D rather than collision. So I need to go into the static bodies and put it on collision layer 2. Yes. And if we do this... Hey, okay, so it still works for the walls, but it didn't fix anything to do with the floor. Hey, whoa, okay, so we can move our character from side to side. We have some character movement. Oh, and then it stopped. Okay, so it is finally broken again. The floor is drywall, I'm telling you. I mean, theoretically though, I am the contractor building the house, so I just want to make it not drywall. This is from 2020. Wait, so Frankie the File System Ferret must be your favorite mascot? You are entirely correct. I loved Glitchy, but Hanson not so much. I have not kept up with MLH mascots. Hanson the Hardware Hippo. Okay, the design is good though. It is very fun. Yeah. Frankie the File System Ferret. Aw. My main mascot was in the 2021 season, Ellie the Elephant. And then Glitchy. Glitchy the Giraffe. Oh my goodness, I forgot about this. I feel sad that I didn't keep up with this. Because this is a very good mascot. But yeah, Frankie the File System Ferret. Ugh. There's so many different Ellie emojis in the Discord too. There are. I think part of that is thoughts, brain. I had a thought. I had at least one thought. Theoretically, I had at least one thought. Oh, that was during all of the, like, the peak of virtual hackathons. My camera's... See, but it's colliding with the floor. So that is a zooming camera, so that's not our bug. That shouldn't have to do with... Okay. Okay. My theory... Let me try doing that. Ah! I have some oatmeal and a spoon next to me for when we take a break so that I can eat breakfast, but... So the same thing is happening here when the player is too close to the wall. Did you spill the tea coffee? No, I drank all the coffee. In our spring arm script, I'm actually going to try adding this back again. No, it's still... Okay, you can see that now we can go through our player, which is good. But we keep going. That's so weird. Okay. I'm going to try making some breaking changes. That fixed nothing. Okay. Is it shoving the spring arm under the floor and then around behind the wall? I believe so. It's like a combination error. Okay. I'm going to try something to isolate errors again, where I'm going to say that we can't let's lock how far down this can go so that it can't go under. Okay. So this works. We literally can't move the camera down low enough to go through the floor. Oh no, it's still... No, you're entirely right. That is what it's doing. Which I think could be fixed by moving the spring arm up from... its position at the bottom of the character to, let's now put it in the middle of the character. No, but it's still focusing on that bottom area. Won't be breaking under several conditions? Yes. When I was doing 2D collision for diagonal movement in Java, I ran into the issue of character ignoring collision while walking into corners of walls, had to add extra collision checks just for corners. So the good news here is that we're using a game engine that is doing the collision stuff for us. We should not need to write our own collision code, theoretically. Emphasis on the theoretically. Oh, I understand what is happening there. Okay. So, in our player script, every frame we are moving it down. Let me try this. We now should be centered on the player's head. Hey, we are. Okay, we're way above the player's head, actually. Why are we so high above? Okay, we're going to try creating a vector 3 where we have position.x, position.y plus 2.0, and position.z. Let's try this again. Hey, there we go. Okay, now we're centered on the player's head. Let's not have it be fully up on the player's head, but the middle of the player's body. Hey, okay, that looks better. Beanhead. Okay, fixed that. Now let's go back to our spring arm and remove our safety wheels here, training wheels. Hey, and look at that, we don't clip through the floor anymore. Okay. And now...
Awesome job.
Okay, we still kind of clip through the wall. I want to see if it is now that code that is causing us to do that. I think it might be. No. So we still clip through the wall, but we don't clip through the floor. The floor is now concrete. Yes. So what happened before is that we were able to clip through things because we were on the exact same, because we were at, the camera was touching the floor. So when you're touching the floor, it's easier to clip through is the way that I'm brokenly describing this. So I think the solution to our wall problems is in our player, in our spring arm, is our shape. So let's try doing a sphere again. Why can we now go through the floor? Okay, now we just don't have any collision at all. Great. So let's undo that. Okay, so our floor is still working. Theoretically, I want our camera to stop there before it collides with anything. It casts on the z-axis. Oh. Hey! Okay. So what it was the length here was 1, so it was too long to be able to fit in that small space. Now that it's smaller, if I were to set this to 0, would this still work? Okay, can't collide with the floor. Hey, okay. So we're still, you can still see through the wall slightly. So let's increase our margin here. Let's try this. Okay. Okay, so you can still slightly clip into the wall, but you don't clip entirely through anymore. It is progress. Yeah, but I mean, seeing through walls like that is in a lot of AA and even AAA games. Yes, it is. But you can just increase the width of the wall. No, the problem is that we're clipping through one of the planes of the wall, so we're seeing inside of it. It doesn't actually have to do with the width. I do want to say we are now halfway through our stream, and I will be especially vigilant about this today because I'm streaming so much. We are going to take a quick 5-minute bio break, stand up, stretch, drink some water, take care of yourself. Time for oatmeal, yes. I know I need to do this because I am, again, streaming for 7 hours today. So I hope that you join me for many of those hours. So I'm going to put a 5-minute timer up on the screen. Take those 5 minutes to do what you need to do. And then we will be back to, I think, what I might do is I might move on from this and start implementing things because this is not game breaking. It's a little annoying, but it is functional. So we need to fix the movement code, and then we can start implementing our character model and the world. I think that is what we're going to do. With that, we're going to take our 5-minute break. Totally understandable 404. I'm going to hit play. See you all in 5 minutes. Sorry. I am back. Hello, hello, welcome. If 404 is not around, or if 404 is still around, totally fine. Go ahead and hang out. They're probably gone already, but... Wait. Brain, I don't even know what the words that I said is, but you can always... Ugh. I can't finish that sentence. With that, let's jump back into where we were, which specifically I want to look at fixing our movement code, because currently we can only move left and right and only for a little bit of time before it breaks. So this is in our player script. Just going to add some debugging here. Because I don't know which part of this code is breaking. Oh, okay, so this is very useful. You'll notice that we have one number that is getting very big, and that is the force pushing us down. That is gravity. Which should be 0 if we're touching the floor. Need to reset it every tick? We don't need to reset it every tick. Because we want, if you jump into the air, we want you to be accelerating downwards. We want gravity to be increasing, but it should be set to 0 when you jump. Wait. I removed all of the jump code. Okay. At one point when we realized that move and slide changed, I deleted a bunch of code, and I did not realize I deleted too much code. So we need to find...
Making your first...
Great. Yeah, so it's this code right here that I deleted. Because some of it is working with things that we don't need, but some of it is. We don't need snap vector. Or do we? Okay, well, I'm going to implement this, and then we'll see what the implications are. I did say when I deleted it, when we have errors, it is probably because of this. Okay. Okay. Ah, and that's why things didn't work. Okay. Okay. Var just landed is on floor. We don't need to be just landed. Well, let us take a look at the documentation for I'm looking for character body 3D. Okay. It would have been easier to just find it here. For character body 3D. Motion mode, max slides, floor snap. Platform on leave. Floor block on wall. Floor consistent speed. Floor max angle. Floor snap length. Okay, that's not important. Floor stop on slope. Max slides. Motion mode, platform 4 layers, platform on leave, platform all leave, safe margins. Slide on ceiling. Factor 3, up direction. Velocity. Okay, no, that's right. C, Y. Apply floor snap, get floor angle, get floor normal, get last motion. Get last slide collision. Get real velocity. What's the current real velocity? It's the last call to method. For example, when you climb a slope, diagonally, you know the velocity is horizontal. Method returns the diagonal movement. Okay, we don't need that. Get well normal is on ceiling, is on floor. Okay, I think that we can do this much simpler. if is on floor, working velocity dot y equals 0. Let's make this a slightly nicer. Else. Great. And then we're now just looking to see if is jumping. Okay, so if input dot is action just pressed jump and is on floor, working velocity dot y is equal to jump strength. Let's try this now. Print get velocity, print get real velocity. Let's try this. Now if we run, we can jump. We can move left and right. But we cannot move forward and backward. So our forward and backward code is broken, but jumping is working, left and right is working. And we generally have camera collision working. It's a little jank, but it's better than where it was before. Okay, just forward and backward movement and then we're good. Thank you. Thesjeet? That's the best I think I can pronounce your username. Feel free to correct me in chat. Thanks for the thumbs up. Move direction. Okay. Move direction dot y. That should be Z. Hey! We have forward, backward, left, right, jumping. We have complete control over our character. We can move around. We can jump. Everything's working. Great. Okay, so it took us an extra hour, 22 minutes to fix some bugs that I had. But generally, we've gotten there. Hey, Anya Sachdev. Sachdev? Welcome. So I'm going to make a couple tweaks really quickly, just to make this slightly more fun. On our player, I'm going to increase our speed to, let's say, 15. That's nice. Great. We have collision, we have our camera, we have everything working for the basics of our 3D platformer. Now, what we want to do is we want to implement a character model and our map. Let's start with the character model. And I think this should be, I don't know if I want to jinx myself, but I think it should be fairly simple. So, our first character model that we're going to try is this one. It is a Creative Commons licensed model on Sketchfab for a penguin plush. that is adorable. It has like this textured pattern, and it's very adorable and low poly. So we're going to try using this. Again, it's Creative Commons with attribution. So if we were releasing this anywhere, we'd attribute to Sunny Buns. In this case, I am attributing live on stream with y'all. And you can click on download 3D model, and we are going to download it as a GLB. No, a GLTF. Let me drop this link in chat for y'all. Great. So now in Godot, we should be able to create a new folder. We're going to call this Penguin Model. And in there, actually, wait, let's just drag Penguin Plush into there. That didn't actually do anything. Texture news and all that. What the heck just happened? Delete, remove. Open in File Manager. Let's do this. Great. Okay, now we have Penguin Plush. It has done the thing. Now, theoretically, I can rename this scene to Penguin. Could not find. Oh my goodness. Well, that was simple. It is in the game, and it even has the normal mapping for it to look plush. So, it's called Sketchfab Scene. Let's rename this to Penguin Model. And this is going to be our mesh instead of character model. So I'm going to actually delete character model. And we are just going to scale our Penguin model until it is like on the same scale that everything else was. So about that tall. Great. And then I'm going to move it forward a little bit. Amazing. And then I'm just going to update our hitbox that we created to better fit. So we're going to increase the radius so that it fits. Great. And then we're going to decrease the height. Something feels weird here. This just doesn't feel... I get that our model is very short and squat, but this just does not feel... I guess it technically is correct. Yeah, our circle is completely enclosing our character. On that side, and on this side. The one thing, though, is it doesn't have a flat bottom. There we go. Okay. This just feels like a very bad collision mesh for what our model actually is. Do we have a better option? No, not especially. Shape, new sphere, new box, new capsule, new cylinder. I mean, we want it to be a capsule. We want to increase the radius until it contains our character. Good. And then we want to decrease the height until it contains our character as well. Which okay, theoretically everything looks good there. Let's save that. And if we play on our world. Ooh, okay. Errors. Oh, no, not found character model. Because instead it's called penguin model. Rename char model. Wait, we don't need... Why do we need the mesh instance? Ah, model rotation. Okay. If you right-click on Penguin, click on Make Local, then you have access to mesh in player scene. Yes, so I'm not looking to do that necessarily. Like, we could, but it wouldn't necessarily help us. I was going to possibly create a convex collision shape from it, but I think that's more complicated than it needs to be. Okay, model. Let's try this again. Trying to assign value of type node 3D to a variable instead of a type. Mesh instance 3D. Let's try this again. Okay, hey, we have our penguin. We move. It's a little blocky, our rotation, because we don't have any animations, but it is working, which I think is good enough for us right now. We have our character model. It moves. It still collides with everything correctly. I think this is good enough for us. with that, that was shockingly easy. Let's now try this again, but with our world map. So in world, I'm going to get rid of these two mesh instances. Actually, I'm going to keep the floor for now, just in case. And we're going to try doing this with our world map, which should be... I have a link to it, just like I had a link to our model. Okay. There's a Reddit thread. I ported Woohoo Island to Blender. And again, Woohoo Island is the island from the game Wii Sports Resort. It's just like this wonderful island that I would love our character to be able to walk around in. And there's a blend file for this with the sharing link down here. This doesn't have an official license associated to it, but based on what the person has said, it is basically a Creative Commons 0 or a Creative Commons attribution. It's somewhere in the middle there, where they're okay with people using it, but they just want attribution to be kind. So again, I just linked the Reddit thread. Feel free to upvote this because they definitely deserve it. They did an incredible job with this. And then you can click on this Google Drive link to download. Do I have it? Yes. Woohoo Island Blender.zip. Which if I unzip, oh, okay. You can see that I have Woohoo Island.blend. Which, if I now open in Blender, we can see that we have this wonderful, super detailed model. But the mesh is not actually that insane. That, like, it has a lot to it, but it's fairly low poly as well. If we switch to wireframe, ooh, hopefully. Yeah, this is not insane. This is fairly game ready. And then it also has textures. Blender takes a long time to load these textures. I'm hoping it will be easier. Oh, it's compiling the shaders. I'm going to give it a sec to compile the shaders. Fingers crossed. Okay. Compiling. The good news is it is not a problem with the model being too intense. It is that it needs to compile the shaders the first time through. And then hopefully it should be fine and game ready for our game itself. While this is compiling, feel free to ask questions. I'm going to eat some oatmeal. You can see up here, compiling shaders, 219 remaining. Hey! All the shaders have loaded. And we can see that it is now just this beautiful island. What is a wireframe? A wireframe is a representation of a 3D model where instead of the textures and the faces, we just see the vertices. So we just see the edges. So this allows us to see each one of these triangles as one polygon that needs to be rendered. And we can see that there aren't that many, all things considered. It's not nothing, but it's not an infinite amount. So I am now going to file, export to a GLB. And we are going to, I'm going to export into downloads. It's going to take a bit to load and compile all this again. Okay. Now, hopefully, I can quit out of Blender. We have Woohoo Island Blender. Let me grab the files. I saved this in the wrong location. Actually, yeah, I want to Open up the Blender file again. Compiling shaders again. Okay, we know that it works, and we're going to export it to a better folder. We're going to go up one. And in here, GLTF separate, textures, in the textures folder. There we go. Okay. Now let's do this again. Hopefully it should be better and less chaotic. Okay. Let's take a look at this now. Hey, okay. We have our textures folder. We have Woohoo Island. I'm now going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to click and drag it into our game. In Godot, it should say importing assets. It gives us some errors, unfortunately. But let's see what we can do. No loader found for resource. Okay, let's see. What's the issue? Can't open file from bin. Condition in offset buffer. Oh, it's larger than the buffer size. Okay, let's Google this error. Get such errors if you forget to copy the associated bin files. Okay. I think it might be because I had that space in the file name. Okay. Let's now try this again. Or if we now go back to Godot, re-importing assets. That's still broken, and for some reason the music just stopped at the same time that that broke. Oh, goodness. What just broke? It looks like y'all can still hear things, but I cannot. Stream mix. Monitor mix. Okay. Well, that's weird. Let's try this now. Nope. Huh, okay. Well, hopefully y'all can still hear me. It looks like you can. And I'll fix this in between streams. Godot has support for .blend files directly. If you give Godot editor settings important Blender path. I know, I knew that that was technically a thing. I was hoping to be able to not need to do that. But let's do this. Okay. Godot. Editor settings. Blender 3 path. Shared. Nope. Applications. B blender.app. Contents. macOS Blender. Well, let's try blender.app. Select this folder. Quick walk. And now if we editor settings. Okay. Theoretically that looks okay. So now let's just try dragging Blender. Path does not contain a Blender installation. Let us look in the file system applications. Blender. Blender. Show and closing folder. Show package contents. Contents. macOS. Well, there's the executable. Okay. So let's go a little bit deeper. Contents. macOS. Select this folder. Hey! Okay, now if we click confirm path. We need blender.exe. Again, I'm on a Mac, so we linked it to the executable. Oh. Come on. I wanted to hit allow on that. Blender. Okay, we have the textures. No loader for resource. Okay. Okay. I think I know what the issue might be. I think it is just too large of a file to be completely imported all at once. So let's go into the Blender scene and make some changes. Downloads. Blue Island Blender. I'm going to get rid of this and we'll start from scratch. Great. We really only need the main island. So, Hey, Wombo Combo. Like, objectively too big of a file or too big for your computer. So the reason why I think so is because we are getting the error int offset plus buffer end is greater than buffer size. I think it is a buffer overflow error. So I think it is too big for Godot. Layout. Here we go. Okay. Can we go inside the volcano? Yes, it does have the inside of the volcano. Okay. So others is everything. It's the little like. Okay. Trees. We want the trees. Lighting and cameras. We're going to delete that because we do not need lighting or cameras to be a part of this. Wait, no, we want the lighting theoretically. We just don't need the cameras. Delete. Trees, others. So that's the island itself. Okay, within others. Oh, this is so okay. Ugh. This is kind of a broken. We want that. We want that. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything we can remove to simplify this. I mean, we could remove this island altogether, but I don't think that will actually make a difference. Oh. It said it could not open from file path. It might have just been the spaces. Let's try this. Fingers crossed, because I just realized that the overflow errors were for GLTFs rather than .blend files. This might bring everything to crashing. Hey, okay, so it didn't load the textures. We had errors with that. And the lighting. I don't want to make it local. New inherited scene. Delete. Here we go. This scene we are going to save as woohoo island.scene. Great. Okay, so it's still everything is still very to mildly broken. Skeleton 3D, armature. Let me try turning off these lights. Okay, so those lights, the spotlight specifically, these were blowing everything out. So I'm going to try removing these. Delete nodes. Can't operate nodes the current scene inherits from. Cannot operate on nodes that the current scene inherits from. Delete nodes. Okay. Okay, we have 5 minutes left in the screen.
Hello, y'all.
Hey, welcome back, Kat. Thanks for the follow, Krish. Sorry, I'm late. What did I miss? So, we have... Can I... Okay. Well, we have gotten our camera to work without stuttering. It doesn't go through the floor. And we can move our character around. And we have our character as the penguin model. Again, I'll update the GitHub so you can follow for the remaining streams today. But yeah, we've made that progress. Currently, we're working on importing that map that we talked about. And it just doesn't seem to... It has some errors, to say the least. Yeah, I still have that one error with the camera, so I've got quite a long way to get with that, LOL. Okay, what we should try doing is... We have 4 minutes left, so I'm just going to do this now. I'm going to open up... I'm going to push where this code is right now. woohooisland.scene is still broken. I'm committing. It's going to take a sec. And I'm pushing. Still pushing. We have an entire Blender file in here, so that makes sense. Woohoo Island like the Wii one? Yes, exactly. Okay, so that just sent as well. So now the GitHub is up to date, so you can go ahead and import that the same way that we did yesterday, and you should have everything that we've done. And you can look through that and make sense of it. Now the next thing that we're just doing is working on this, which is still broken. We have like a couple minutes remaining. Let me see if there's a stream scheduled after this. Yes, there, wait. Yes, there is at noon Eastern time. So in an hour from now, there's today in Global Hack Week, day 3. But it is 10:58. So my time is up for this stream, but I will be back for 4 more hours of this today at 3 p.m. Eastern time through 7 p.m. Eastern time. They are all my streams. And we're going to be continuing this. We're going to fix the island. We're going to add lighting. And then hopefully we're going to start adding some fun shaders. with that, I'm going to wish you all a good couple of hours until I see you again. Again, all of this is up on the GitHub, and all of this will be linked in the YouTube recording as well as the GitHub repo. Let me drop the GitHub repo one more time in chat for y'all. Okay. GitHub repo is in chat. Thank you all so much for coming. I'll see you again in a couple of hours. And until then, happy hacking, y'all. Bye. See you, Shrey. Bye, Cat.